Good morning, afternoon, or evening, ladies and gentlemen, Allincrypto here, and I have a spectacular video lined up for you today. This is going to be another daily cryptocurrency market update, and if you are new to this channel and finding yourselves on my videos for the first time today, don't forget to check out that subscribe button, because we drop an update just like this one around 1 p.m. UK time every single day to help you guys stay up to date with the latest and greatest things happening within the crypto space, but also the broader markets. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing in this video. We've got a really exciting one for you, as there has been a load of emails released and that have miraculously, in line with the kind of miraculous nature of the entire Bitcoin narrative and story, come to light literally yesterday. And we're going to be looking at that. It's from a guy called Marty Malmi, who also calls himself Sirius. And anybody that's studied ancient mythology will be able to locate that particular god through a number of different traditions, but that could be for an entirely different video. He's essentially released a load of his correspondence with Satoshi from 2009 to 2011. There's a lot of them. I still need to go through them all. I've covered some of them, but it really adds a further degree of questionability to this whole Satoshi story and narrative. I think it's all too good to be true, to be honest with you guys. I'm going to say that straight off the bat. We are going to cover the things that we always cover on these updates towards the latter half of the video, but we're going to focus on this specifically to start things off because it's just so huge. We will be looking at Bitcoin, of course, where it's at, where we think it's going. You know, the plan is still the same. You guys are all on board with that. I believe, anyway. We don't see too many bearish comments at this point after kind of showing them the light. But we are going to not only be looking at Bitcoin, we're looking at Bitcoin dominance, looking at ETH BTC, looking at others' dominance. Got lots of altcoins breaking out, and we're going to be covering some altcoins that have broken out later on this evening. So we will be looking at all the sort of usual stuff that we do in these updates towards the latter half of the video, but we're going to start off with this. And you can see that this is the individual. Yesterday, he literally tweeted my email correspondence with Satoshi Nakamoto in 2009 and 2011. And within this, you even have a road in regards to scaling Bitcoin. I mean, how coincidental? There's too many coincidences with Bitcoin. Not just with Bitcoin, but with what Bitcoin, the problem that Bitcoin sought to address. Are these people in charge of the monetary financial systems that incompetent, or are they deliberately doing this? That's a question that I have at the forefront of my mind when it comes to Bitcoin and this entire industry and the movement that it spawned. You know, blockchain, a distributed global ledger, has a far broader application. It was Hal Finney himself who said this, which is why Bitcoin maxis don't know what they're talking about. A distributed global ledger has far broader applications than just money or a store of value. And we see that, we cover and we speak with many of the projects that are doing that. And we certainly know Bitcoin or Ethereum spawned the whole smart contract movement. And we're moving even further away from that. You know, we're decentralizing the internet and the infrastructure that builds it, all this amazing stuff. But something's fishy, and what I want to do is actually play a clip of the El Salvadorian president talking about the irony of the monetary system and how much of a scam it is. You know, it's amazing that we're at this point, and it seems like we're really at this. There's a lot of parallels right now in regards to what typically leads to extremism in societies. And I'm trying not to sort of spiral out of control here in what I'm saying and keep it as structured as possible. But with this coming to light, there's just so many questions that need to be answered. And we're going to try and help you guys answer all those questions on this channel. And I hope you don't mind me spending the first half of this video talking about this kind of stuff. But let's listen to this clip from the president of El Salvador actually talking about the monetary system and the scam nature of it. You know, the unsensical nature of it. There's no sense to it at the moment. And people are waking up, and we are in, I believe, an age brought about by the likes of the internet and technology of, can I call it enlightenment? I don't want to sound too yoga pants wearing. You know, we are becoming more and more aware of things and discovering the kind of nonsensicality of so many different things. But let's play this clip. Then we're going to talk about the correspondence that have been coincidentally or conveniently leaked at this time.
Someone could ask, well, so if the government can print unlimited amounts of money out of thin air, why did they collect taxes? I mean, in theory, it would make sense, right? If they can print unlimited amounts of money, why would they need taxes for? The answer is simple, but it's very shocking. The real problem is that you pay high taxes only to uphold the illusion that you are funding the government, which you are not. It's shocking, but it's true. The government is funded by money printing, paper backed with paper, a bubble that will inevitably burst. The situation is even worse than it seems, because if most Americans and the rest of the world were to become aware of this farce, confidence in your currency would be lost, the dollar would fall, and the Western civilization with it.
And I wanted to play that clip because it kind of ties in with what I started the video off saying and what I'm going to continue to start saying. You know, there's just such a too good to be true element to all this. Bitcoin just came about right when all the we entered this kind of communist regime for money. You know, essentially the government just bails everyone out. Banks just bail. There's no kind of responsibility or value there. There is, of course, a value there. I'm not saying there's no value to the US dollar. The US dollar's king at the moment. Will it always be that way? Well, we've often filmed videos where we've been outside of a castle. And the reason I've been outside of a castle is to show you that times change. You know, at one point, the people or the kings and queens that lived in that castle couldn't have imagined new empires forming. But this is kind of where we're at. And this is why I've always had such a big fascination and love for this industry, because I think it's going to play such a fundamental role in the new world that we're moving towards. We've always said that. We continue to say it. And things are getting really out of hand in regards to the monetary system. Something big is coming. There's no doubt about that. We take a little bit of sympathy for the bears, even though they've been so wrong and it's been very painful for them. A lot of bears, like people like Robert Kiyosaki, the gold bugs, they'll be right one day. Okay, their timing's just off, and we like to be a bit more intricate and make money when the opportunity's there. And that's what we try to do. We're long, by the way, we're saying all this, we're long Bitcoin, right? We got back in at 16, 15K. It's all public. We think it's going to 150. We think Amazon's going up despite Jeff Bezos selling. Who's the other one? Microsoft guy. Bill Gates also selling stock. JP Morgan also selling stock. We can maybe do an entirely separate video on that, and should we be worried? But technically, we think Amazon's going higher. But this is what has recently come to light. This guy here essentially leaked. He said, my email correspondent with Satoshi in 2009, 2011. Back when sending 10,000 Bitcoin was casual, Satoshi downplaying his writing, but as evident from the email, his English was perfect, much better than mine. I don't remember a single instance where he even made a spelling error. I do not believe that the Satoshi story is the correct one. And they always tell you a story in regards to all these tech companies, even in regards to the internet. The truth about it comes out, and it actually, you tend to find that if you look at, you know, these basement Facebook stories and things like this, they're usually aided by the US government. Why would the US government allow these companies to succeed, being as powerful as they are, unless they had them in their pocket? You know, why would they allow Bitcoin to succeed to this point if it was such a threat to them? And people say, oh, well, you can't stop Bitcoin. Yeah, okay, you can't stop people, one person giving it to another. But if the US banned Bitcoin like they've done with gold and things like that, what would happen to it? What would happen to the price of it? You know, just be logical about these things. Anyway, you know, and the on and on ramps are really attack vectors. But this is interesting. Kind of interesting this guy calls himself serious. And look at the poses. I don't want to go too far down and make this like a real conspiratorial, what they're doing to the frogs video. But, you know, this is interesting. We're going to be diving into this. We'll do entirely separate videos on this. Here's another tweet. When asked how Bitcoin might scale in the future, Satoshi theorized the network would have a maximum of 100,000 nodes. Here he goes into the calculations and the economics of the network at scale. Note about 50,000 nodes today. Run the software today. There's loads. Satoshi believes mining would be less energy intensive than the legacy banking system. Note, this is by far his best new quote. You can see Satoshi foresaw at least one viable non-monetary use for Bitcoin, backing the timestamp use case. Satoshi describes the difference between Bitcoin and DigiCash, which was another earlier crypto. There's so many cryptos that came out before Ethereum. We are writing a book, and we still are writing it. We've just taken a long time to get around to it, where we look at other technologies and how crypto is following a similar one, but it's snowballing due to its the nature of the world that we live in, which is a more ever-inclusive one. Satoshi was concerned about his legal risk in launching Bitcoin. Nothing he was uncomfortable with explicitly labeled in investment. note. Here also see he didn't come up with the term cryptocurrency himself. By July 2009, Satoshi was tired, saying he needed a break from Bitcoin. Oh, come on. Satoshi discussed how Bitcoin might gain adoption. Of note is his emphasis that Bitcoin was easy to obtain, given that you could mine it on a computer, very different from how we think about Bitcoin today. June 2010, someone offered to donate $2,000 to Satoshi for his Bitcoin work. Notably, he had the donor send it to Marty's address, this guy's address, who we just looked at. Already known by Satoshi, was pretty adamant that early users considered Bitcoin free. Satoshi worked on Bitcoin on Christmas Day. Satoshi saw Bitcoin taking hold as a way to trade other internet currencies like Liberty Reserve. Liberty Reserve was later shut down. Yeah, of course. Satoshi had mysteriously leave of Apple. There's so much here. We're going to have to do a full video on this, by the way, guys. This is a bit sus. We're going to need to understand this in a lot more detail. But just to give you my broad overview, and we're not, being honest, you know, I don't believe in the Satoshi narrative. I don't think Satoshi was this guy, probably in the UK, Hal Finney maybe, you know, very convenient that people think it's Hal Finney because he died, and that would explain why. You know, one thing I was discussing on Patreon this morning was how many people do we know that are that selfless that they'd create an entirely new monetary system, it become one of the largest assets in the world, and they just don't want any credibility for it? Maybe there are people that exist out there, but at the same time, why would he give himself 1 million coins? And that's why the Hal Finney narrative fits in. Hal Finney narrative fits in very well because, of course, Hal Finney died. Let's talk about what we always talk about in these market updates, which is where the markets are going. Remember, we are bullish on Bitcoin despite all of that. I'm sorry we took so long talking about it, guys, but I feel it's important to kind of understand what is going to play, or the origins of what is going to play such a vital role and shape the world that we're moving towards. And we are suspicious about it all. But to move on, this is the Bitcoin chart. You guys know the plan. We've literally, the market loves us, okay? And that's always the attitude you want to have when it goes into the market. When you're losing, you know, you want to turn and try and put a positive slant on it. And hopefully some of the bears out there are doing that. But the markets are going, the beautiful thing is we've gotten great feedback from all this. You know, we've looked at Bitcoin and we've said, look, this just looks Amazon-esque and is going to go in the same direction. Remember, again, break, retest. Remember, this head and shoulders pattern, we've had huge successful, we've had huge success in the stock market, so on and so forth. Lots of altcoins are moving into sort of stage 2s at the moment, which is what we define as an uptrend. Having based, HBAR is a great example. We'll give you 5 of them later on this evening. We do watch a lot of the stock market as well. These are some of our stocks that are in sort of stage 2s now, stage 1 bases. You know, when you've got small cap stocks, large cap stocks, Bitcoin, small cryptos, all pointing in the same direction, you know, that's confluence and you don't want to bet against that. We do have, and we did say we talk about Bitcoin dominance that we do think is going to roll. This is going to be a bullish environment for Bitcoin, but an even more bullish one for the altcoins. Others dominance is one of the few things that we don't see really anybody other than myself and the market sniper, Francis Hunt. Well worth a follow. Talking about, remember, we had a small target for this. It's formed a broader structure, just like what Bitcoin's currently doing. Markets often move in this similar kind of fashion. It looks like we used to draw on a whiteboard as a kid, but you can see we do expect this to go to 20%. That's not going to happen in an environment when Bitcoin's going down. Altcoins look primed to do that on their own merit. And then, of course, we have ETH, the ETH BTC chart. And you can see this is sort of bouncing where we expected it to. And the reason we were expecting it to bounce here was based on historic volatility. So stick to the plan. We'll bring you lots of altcoins. We're also going to be talking about sectors that we're very interested in the crypto space, things like DeepIn, things like IoT, which is the Internet of Things, which is this kind of, you know, we've got the Internet of Information, which we're communicating on right now. That's kind of the Internet of People, if you will, but we are moving towards this Internet of Things world, and also things like AI. We are invested in a number of our cryptos. If you want to unlock what cryptos I own, do consider becoming a Patreon. Guys, I think that's really all I've got for you. Sorry about the less technical and more kind of theoretical start to the video, but I created this channel to help people understand the crypto space and also the broader world that we live in and how crypto is going to impact it. And I feel that this stuff is important. That's really all I've got for you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. On that note, I'm going to love and leave you. See you all in the next one.